A North Idaho woman suffering from mysterious ailments was able to diagnose her issues thanks to Netflix.
And they asked me to watch the documentary, and it just really struck home, like, wow, that's what's happening to me.
An air stagnation advisory in effect now through the middle of next week. I'll tell you if and when it will spread to the Spokane area coming up.
A Washington nurse left work feeling sick. It's a good thing she did, because that led to an incredible rescue.
And I'm like, there's a fire, get out now.
Hi everyone, it's good to have you with us. I'm Jane McCarthy.
Welcome everyone, I'm Mark Hanrahan. A United Airlines flight from Spokane to Denver was diverted this morning after geese hit the plane.
Yeah, we didn't plan it that way, but we did have a reporter on the scene. KREM 2's Alexa Block was on that flight.
The captain said that geese hit the plane, and as we were up in the air, he's like, we aren't sure if there's damage. We don't know if we can make it all the way to Denver because the weather's bad, and we just don't know if there's enough damage. It hit the side of the plane and the front of the plane. And so he's like, we have to be redirected to Seattle.
So Alexa says people on the plane didn't even know they actually hit something until the pilot made that announcement.
I have to commend the airline because everyone stayed so calm, and they made it clear that it wasn't a huge deal, but it was going to be a huge inconvenience for us, and that's really what it was.
Well, Alexa made it safely to her destination to see family. Bird strikes, by the way, not all that uncommon, but they can certainly be dangerous. Glad they weren't this time.
Yeah, next week actually marks 10 years since the Miracle on the Hudson. That's the flight from New York to Charlotte that was forced to crash land right on the Hudson River after hitting a flock of geese. That caused one of the plane's engines to explode. As for today's flight from Spokane, Alexa says the pilot told them diverting the plane was a precaution just to make sure the plane wasn't damaged.
In other news, the heavy fog we saw last night and this morning has moved out.
Yeah, now, though, we could see some poor air quality. Tom Sherry in the Weather Center tonight tracking all of that for us. Tom?
Yes, we have an air stagnation advisory in effect everywhere across pretty much from the east slopes of the Cascades almost to Spokane County, but it is not in Spokane or Whitman County right now, but the stagnation advisory in effect to the north of us. And I suspect towards the end of the weekend or the first part of next week that we also will be under that stagnation advisory. That's because we just have a big area of high pressure and we're trapping all the pollutants right here at the surface. So even though our air quality is good right now, the forecast for tomorrow is for it to become moderate, and we'll see if it begins to decrease from its ideal air quality as we get closer to Sunday and say Monday. Again, that air stagnation advisory in effect until Wednesday, 7 p.m. And that's because of Wednesday night we expect to see some rain or snow. In the meantime, winds are out of the east-northeast at 8 miles an hour. You can see that barometric pressure is holding steady. Cloudy skies at 34 degrees. We're looking for a calm weekend. If we burn off the fog and low clouds overnight and early tomorrow morning, we should see partly cloudy skies both Saturday and Sunday. If we get that sunshine, we'll warm into the low 40s. If we don't get the sunshine, we're not going to get into the 40s. But the idea is now that we should be able to burn it off like we did today. Other than that, very, very calm conditions. I do have some changes, though, in your 10-day outlook. I'll show you those coming up in a few minutes.
Thank you, Tom. In North Spokane, a fundraiser at the Perfect Start coffee stand just wrapped up. The fundraiser is benefiting longtime employee Jenny Miller. She was recently diagnosed with breast cancer. The stand donated $1 from every drink to help pay for her medical costs. We asked Jenny just how much that support means to her.
Just putting this on for me today is just appreciative. I just feel so thankful, and everybody that's going through this, I'm cheering for you too. Like, we're all in this together for sure.
So if you'd like to help out and donate, they also have a GoFundMe page, and you can find that by searching Help Jenny Fight Cancer.
Well, Columbia Sportswear CEO Tim Boyle is sending a message to politicians about the shutdown. Today, the company tweeted, "Make America's parks open again." Boyle says his motivation for writing it is twofold. He wants to see the parks open and clean again, and he wants his customers to have a place to use Columbia's products. He says the message had been in the works for a couple of days.
This, we felt, was one of the most critical things about composing this ad. Is it needed to be crisp, It needed to be attention getting, and hopefully needs to get some action. So we'll see.
Boyle says he realizes not everyone will agree with this post, but he felt the message had to be shared. Comments on Columbia's Facebook post, well, there are some people agreeing with the message and others saying they're done buying their products. A Western Washington nurse is being called a guardian angel tonight.
Yeah, what started with a stomach bug ended with a very grateful family. Our Eric Wilkinson in Seattle has the story.
Registered nurse Rachel Garcia is one of those people who hates to go home sick from work.
So I'm the one where I will power through it.
She didn't know it yet, but this was one day Rachel would be happy to go home. One day just before Christmas, Rachel left work with an upset stomach. Along the way, she spotted a house on fire.
And I thought, am I hallucinating? Am I that sick that like I'm, imagining this? And I just looked, I'm like, no, that's a fire.
This was the house. Inside, 3 kids and a babysitter, clueless that the house was burning when Rachel burst inside.
And I'm like, there's a fire, get out now. And they looked at me like, who are you? And, this crazy lady. And I said, move, come on, get out, there's a fire.
In the middle of it all, Rachel realized the house belonged to a co-worker at the same Peace Health Medical Clinic in Bellingham.
Peace Health Specialty, this is Jenny. Can I help you?
She called Jenny Brown.
I'm pretty sure she said your kids are fine, but your house is on fire. And I took off.
Rachel was able to get Jenny's 4-year-old son and his friends out of the house safely. Firefighters said just a few more minutes and it could have been a very different story.
The flames were starting to engulf the house and the overtop of the house, and to know that there are people who actually care enough to stop and find out what's going on it blows my mind every day. Every day I am so incredibly thankful.
How are the kids doing?
They're good.
Thankful for a sick nurse who decided to take a dose of her own medicine and ended up making the most critical of house calls.
But after it happened, I knew at that moment that my guardian angel was here on earth, because there's no other way to explain it.
I mean, it was just perfect, beautiful timing, and I feel really blessed to have been part of that. God's master plan and his perfect timing.
In Bellingham, Eric Wilkinson, King 5 News.
What are the chances, right? You go home sick, drive by that particular house, and then be your coworker's house.
Thankfully.
No kidding. Nicely done. By the way, Jenny, her husband, and 3 kids will be staying in a hotel until their house is repaired in March. A faulty halogen light bulb sparked the fire.